last session about the awareness and the mindfulness. So the awareness and the mindfulness is very important for every practice one may do. And so whatever practice or whatever physical action, mental action or verbal action one might be doing, and they should be checked or examined by awareness and mindfulness. And so therefore, with that, then one must practice whatever one can do. So here, then Shantideva said that therefore the Bodhisattvas means that who has taken the Bodhisattva vow, or who is holding the Bodhicitta, must learn every possible thing to create the virtuous deed or merit. So, not just sitting down and mentally meditating or verbally saying some prayers or mantras, but it is also important to be with good attitude and good physical attitude. What it means is that one should be always humble, respectful, nice to everybody. And Shantideva here said that even when you talk to somebody, you should not have the frowning face. You should always have the smiles in your face. And even if you want to show something, somebody asks you the direction, you should not just pointing like this, but you should show with full hand stretching out like this. And all these kind of attitudes, as much as one can do, anything that can create good atmosphere and creates the happiness to both, it must be practiced. So it's said that there is nothing that bodhisattvas actually do not practice such things, do not practice something that is good for mentally and physically and verbally. So anything that makes people happy, anything that do not create the anger, anything that creates happiness, are all these attitudes. If combined with the bodhicitta, and that itself is the practice, that itself is the virtuous deed and the merit. And also to listen to dharmas is also usually very important to have a good attitude. One should not listen to the Dharma with disrespect, without faith, without devotion. And it is very important to first have the faith and devotion to the teacher and have the good attitude. For example, people without problem, without sickness, if he or she comes with some kind of tied up something on the head, that is also disrespect. People comes with the weapons to listen to the teaching is also disrespect. And also usually it is said that the people who actually do not believe in the teaching, or even if after having heard the teachings, might be treating that hearing heard, such hearing or such circumstances just as a normal case, just as for what you call one would say that, oh, I have no connection with the teacher because I have not intentionally went to listen to teaching, or I was just happened to be there just to listen to teaching. then it is called stealing the teaching, because you are there to steal the teaching. You are not actually there to receive the teaching. So it is kind of sin or bad negativities. So therefore, one should, no matter, one should not lose the bodhicitta. One should not lose the compassion, no matter it cost one's life or whatever. Then one is the good bodhisattva, good practitioner. Otherwise, that sometimes when you are happy, when there's good circumstances, you can talk about bodhicitta, compassion. You can also meditate a little bit of bodhicitta meditation. But then, if there is some circumstances, or maybe difficulty comes, then you can abandon the bodhicitta or compassion. Then in this way, it is very difficult to accumulate our merit. And when we do not accumulate, then there is no way to achieve the happiness and the liberation or enlightenment. So now the next chapter today is called the forbearance. Forbearance of suffering. So it is said that if one has anger or hatred for a moment, it will destroy all one's merit through the generosity, through the offerings, through the prostrations, etc., that one have accumulated for 1,000 eons. This is very much discouraging. So then there is a question among the scholars in this case. And they say that if that is the case, how would it be possible for the sentient beings to get liberated? So then there is a discussions saying that it does not mean that kind of anger, it could be this kind of anger. So anyway, some scholars say that it will destroy our virtues, deed or merit through the 10 virtues deed, that the 10 virtues deeds merits, but not other practices. And some said that it could be the differentiations that anything bodily created, or mental, bodily and verbally created virtuous deeds could be destroyed, but not by the mentally. So there are many discussions and questions arises. But I think, from my understanding, that it could be the virtuous deeds that has not been dedicated. And if one has dedicated merit, then that the merit can, or virtuous deed cannot be destroyed by the anger. The dedication goes with the meditation of emptiness. For example, if you do the generosity, and then right after that you must dedicate that may this virtuous deed be the cause for the liberation of enlightenment and Buddhahood for the sake of sentient beings. And then right after that you must think that in reality there is the oneself who is a giver, and that there is no the thing that you give, money or anything, and there is no object, which is the beggar, do not exist. And also you can say that the thing that there is in reality oneself who is the dedicator of the merit. There is no merit itself, and there is no objective or goal that to be dedicated the merit to. So in this way, that virtuous deed is combined with emptiness meditation. So this, anything that is combined with the emptiness meditation cannot be destroyed. Here it said 1,000 aeons. So the aeon means time period. In English, I don't think there is a particular year this much is aeon. So aeon, the Buddhist point of view, that this world is firstly existing period, then remaining period, and then vanishing period, and then completely vanished. So there are 4 different periods. So each period goes with 20 kalpas, kalpa or eon, in Tibetan is called kalpa, eon. And that 20 times is called the million kalpa. So here, kalpa is the great kalpa, so that comes to 80 kalpas, of the minor kalpas. So you see, Buddhist point of view, that when exists this universe, it does not exist certainly everything together. It exists slowly, one up by one, maybe first fire, and then air, and then water, and then plants, and then human beings, the evolution. And that itself takes some period. And after that, then it will remain without declining. It will remain for some time. And that is called the valley of remaining time of this universe. And after that, it will start finishing. Then slowly, but nowadays I think it is the time is starting that all our good things are now going away. And so it will take some time. And after that, the world is completely finished, vanished, no more there. So it will remain with that is called completely finished. So that period, no universe is here. That will take some time. Again to come again, universe to exist. So it is said that the anger or hatred is such a powerful or great negativity, but at the same time, the antidote to the anger, which is the tolerance or forbearance, is also, there is no such austerity than the tolerance. So the tolerance is also mentioned even equally greater than the greater than the other negativities than this anger. So the antidote for anger or hatred is the forbearance or tolerance or patience. So therefore, Shantideva said that one must diligently, one must very constantly practice the tolerance. So tolerance here actually means that a kind of, as I explained last time, that your mind should be tolerant. Mind should be made up that one will never retaliate, one will never create problems to other sentient beings. That particular thought is the tolerance. Reason why he said that we must practice tolerance is that even a minor anger or hatred may cause us great suffering, great unhappiness, and it will not keep our mind peaceful. And through the anger, hatred, one will not achieve the joy and happiness, and even one will not get good sleep, because one might be thinking about those problems, and anger does not let us to go to sleep. So the anger is nothing good. Through the anger only one can achieve these unwanted, undesired things. And it is said that anger is such a great destructor, that even if the person who treats you, who gives you the high position, who gives you the money, who gives you the food, who looks after you. But if that person is angry to his people, then the people will, instead of thinking his kindness, thinking of his kindness, the anger arises within them, and it may also possible that these people will plan to kill such person, even if that person has been kind to oneself. So therefore, person who knows or who destroys the anger, and this person can be happy in this lifetime and can have the happiness in the future lifetimes. So if you treat the anger, then it is like anger is the food for your negative actions. And if you do not retain the anger, then the negative physical action do not come. So the food for the negative physical action is the anger. So it is like that. So you must treat the anger as an enemy. Otherwise, it is like you are feeding your enemy to destroy yourself. And so all these things, actually these teachings or the Buddhist tolerance practice is collect all these good information and put into your mind and fit in and give the mind good understanding. So through that, then you will be able to tolerate any difficult circumstances. So therefore it said that no matter whatever circumstances comes, one will not destroy one's mental peace. You see, if you do not have anger, you will not have the enemy. So then your mind is peaceful. But if you have anger, it creates the enemy. It makes other people unhappy. Then, as a return or result, then your mind becomes unhappy, peaceful. And due to that, then all your virtuous deeds are also be declined. So therefore, one must think that whatever unwholesome circumstances appears, and one must examine carefully, is there anything to do to solve the problems? If you have some problems with your friend, instead of having anger, you must think any way to solve the problems. If there is no way to solve the problems, again the anger will not help you, so you should not have anger. And if there is ways to solve the problems, then again anger is not necessary, because that problem will be solved. So in this way one must understand that the anger is not good. And there are basically, to practice the tolerance, there are three kinds of tolerances. In one English translation, it is translated like this: forbearance towards the endurance of suffering. And the second one is forbearance as a result of reflection upon the teaching. The third one is forbearance of the endurance of injuries from others. I would like to correct this translation a little bit, because it sends some other meanings which it will not go with the teaching's core or essence of the teachings. So first one is forbearance towards the endurance of suffering. I would say forbearance towards the suffering, because you have to forbear any suffering that you may face. And the second one is called forbearance as a result of reflection upon the teaching. Again, it could be forbearance upon the reflection of the teaching, which actually means any difficulty faces, any harms, or any disturbs that people created. Instead of having anger, you must understand, you must contemplate on the Dharma, which actually means impermanence, or compassion, or like that. By doing that, you mean by knowing that the enemy has no control to create a problem. It is all because of the nature of the samsara that the problem comes up, something like that. So then it is the reflection upon the teachings. It is not the result of the teaching, but it is due to the reflection on the teaching. The third one is forbearance of insurance of injuries from others. So I would say forbearance of the injuries from others. Because, I'm sorry, not injury, forbearance of the harm from others. Maybe my English may be mistake, but I would understand a little bit difference between injuries and harm. But here teaching means anything that disturbs is called. Anything that disturbs or disturbance, one must forbear it. So in that case, that injury does not encompass many of the disturbances. For example, if somebody comes and throws the garbage in front of your house, and that I don't think it's injury. You have to tolerate at that time. You have to forbear it. So therefore, the learning teaching has to be very careful. Just through reading the book, one may not get a correct meaning. So the language-wise and the actual meaning-wise, there is a lot of things to learn through the teacher, and you cannot directly or literally can comprehend whatever is written on the book. And then sometimes you may go mistakes. Here, last time there was one American, I think, and he wanted to see Dejung Rinpoche, who was a very great Sakya master, who used to be in America maybe 25 or 30 years, and then in the later part of his age he went to Nepal and established a monastery there. He was a very, very great teacher. So he was telephoned by this man, scholar. He said he has studied the Prajna Paramita. It's called, the text is called that I don't remember what it is said in Sanskrit. So anyway, there is a text called, written by Buddha Maitreya. He said that he has some questions regarding this text, and so he wanted to see. So he was, this master was a little bit, feel a little bit hesitated, because he left. He never opened after he studied the teaching. He never opened the book for 30, 40 years, and now he's coming to ask me a question, and how should I do this? So anyway, he came, and the very first question he asked was, in Tibetan it said, Chanju Semba Tatu Mu. So Chanju Semba Tatu Mu, and then Nga and Ta, these two are very similar, that Nga is little bit longer stroke, and short stroke, and Ta is longer stroke. So the printer might have made mistakenly, instead of Nga, it made instead of Ta. So then it is Tu, not Mu. It becomes Tu. And then he asked first thing that, what does this mean, this letter, Chanju Semba Tatu Tu? And then he said, the master said, oh, it may be mistaken, it should be Tu, not Mu. He says, no, he studied very widely and it is Tu. Oh, then master was very much relaxed. Now he thought that he doesn't know much. He doesn't know much. And anyway, so he didn't, this man, a scholar, did not accept anyway, even though he explained it should be moon, not two. So that kind of mistakes you may make. You know. Then you can lead the students to the wrong direction. So anyway, there are three tolerances. So the now first tolerance is and one should think that there is so many causes for the there are very little causes for the happiness, but there are so many causes for our suffering. And then there is no suffering, then one will not have the renunciation. And therefore, that one should treat that sufferings, whatever harms that enemies or other people may create to you, you must treat them as a fortunate circumstances, because otherwise you will not have the renunciation thought. And when you do not have the renunciation thought, you will not think of practicing Dharma. And if the Dharma is not practiced, one will not achieve the permanent peace and happiness. So therefore, any circumstances you may face, instead of getting angry, one must treat these circumstances as an advantage for you to practice the compassion and bodhicitta. And it's said that though that it may be true that we should get rid of the anger, but then it is very difficult for us, the beginners, and then how should we expect to get rid of the anger completely? Here Shantideva said it is possible because there is such a religion is in India in ancient time, somewhere even today it is happening, that torturing one's body and sometimes in the name of Dharma they sacrifice and they prick their body through the needles or through the sharp things. And these people, actually their aim is for happiness, because their teacher taught that through these such tortures and you will achieve the enlightenment. You can clear the sin or negativities. So they very much believe in them and they are practicing. So these people who are actually doing these things out of ignorance can tolerate such a big sufferings. And why not we, who do not have to go through these things, these tortures, these kind of sufferings, why we can't practice this? And he said that anything, if one practice, if you get used to it, there's nothing that is difficult. Everything can be easy, can be practicable. So one must try to practice step by step, bit by bit, and one day one will be able to completely practice the pure tolerance and get rid of the anger. So with such courage one should practice. Not just from the beginning, it's not impossible and just not doing. So from the beginning, small, you tolerate the small harm or small sufferings. And then gradually you will be able to forbear the great ones, great suffering, great disturbance, great harms, etc. So then, at that time, you will not feel that it is difficult. You will feel it is comfortable. You are used to it. So we are already tolerating that many things that we should tolerate that mosquitoes bite. That is very small thing, but you should tolerate mosquitoes bite. Just you should not get angry to the mosquito. kill the mosquitoes. And then from that on it's built up, and then even human beings attack you, you can tolerate that. And we are in order to practice the Dharma, one should tolerate hunger, thirsty, and hot, or heat, or cold, any weathers, everything. If one can tolerate step by step, then you can build up, and slowly you can tolerate any other bigger things. And if one cannot tolerate, even when you are sick, one should be tolerable in this sickness. One should not feel that why I am like that, why I have this kind of life, why others are happy and not me. If you have this kind of angers, then the more you can achieve is the harm and unpeace. Not the peace, you will not achieve the peace. And it should be like that when you are facing. So it is just a matter of how courageous oneself is, how strongly one think about it, how strongly one controls the mind. For example, people in the fighting, and brave people, when they see their blood bleeding from their body, they become even more strong and more, you see that, more brave. They become more brave. But the people who are not brave, who are not brave, even if they see the other people's bleeding, just seeing their blood, they themselves get fainted. So it is. The difference is because of the courage in between these two persons. If you have courage, then that bleeding even becomes to make you stronger, then make you make you feel fragile. So one should deal with the anger as an enemy, but not person who creates the problem is as an enemy. And then when one who can deal the anger as an enemy and can destroy the anger, that person is the most brave or hero. And dealing with the people out of anger, it is nothing to feel that he is a brave, because it is something like you are just fighting with a dead body, not the real person body. So it is not a brave. If you are brave, you must fight with the anger rather than the person who creates the problem. So therefore, and when they feel the circumstances, bad circumstances, bad circumstances with the person, instead of creating the anger, you must feel the compassion. You must think about the compassion, and you must refrain from rising the anger, and you must refrain from the angers, and then it will cause you the peace and happiness. And person who is angry actually he did not think originally before you meet. He did not think that he must have the anger with you. But due to that very circumstances, that anger arose. And then due to the circumstances and due to the circumstances and due to the previous bad habit, then the anger came up. So actually there is nothing to do with that person who has anger. So he was controlled. The person who attacks you is controlled by the anger and his ignorance. So here, that other, like Hindus, they believe that is, though they believe in the Atma, something that is permanent, and then they believe the creator of the physical or universe. So he said, though the person here has no thought of doing that, but there is something like Atma within that person, and so therefore that Atma is himself. So it is the he that creates the bad circumstances. But then Shantideva said that there's no such Atma, or there's no such creator which they believed, because they believed the Atma or creator permanent, never changing, and no experiencing any bad and good. So then Shantideva said, there's no such thing that if he created the anger or bad circumstances, then he should not possess such characteristic that you Hindus explain. Because if from before the circumstances and now circumstances, there should be changes. And if there is changes, as long as there is changes, that should not be the permanent. So therefore, such Atma or such creator will not be able to create anything, will not be able to do anything, because it is permanent. Then it said that it is that Atma, that such Atma itself does not change. It is there all the time. But when circumstances comes, then it arises and then creates the negativities. So then it is said that you must, even if circumstances arises, you should not accept that it changes. So if it changes, as long as it changes, then it will lose its characteristics. So then it will not be the Atma that you explain. So therefore, that whatever, so knowing that all these circumstances, whatever the problems or difficulties people may create, you must think that it is not their fault, that particular individual's fault. It is due to their anger and ignorance created. So at the end, it is also not happy for that person who has anger, person who gives trouble. It also not gives the happiness to that person itself. So therefore, you must create the compassion, and you must think that everything is illusion. Everything do not exist. And then then finally, in this way, that anger and the person who created anger actually in reality do not exist. And with this, then one can cease all sufferings. So, and it is only anger and ignorance that creates sufferings. Otherwise, in reality, there is no sentient being who do not wish the happiness and who do want the sufferings. There is no sentient beings who wants the suffering and do not want happiness. And it is the same, but due to his ignorance and the anger, and then we sentient beings act the other way around. And anger can cause, and due to the anger, due to the ignorance that people we suffer. We create so many things that when there is some problems happens, maybe some difficulties between two friends, or maybe between the couples, and the other one was so desecrated, and even if he or she can plan to die by jumping from the cliffs, by eating the poisons, etc. So these are all actually not that this person does not actually want the death. This person does not want the suffering as a result of their action, but then they do this because they think that this way is the only to do. So this is all their ignorance and their anger made it, and they have no control themselves. So you must treat all the sentient beings, that whoever has the anger, you should not think that the anger, he is independent with whether he wants to, whether he wants to have anger or he do not want to have anger. It is all due to the circumstances that made him the angers. So in this way, then anger, one should tolerate the angers. Even if, he says Shantidev, even if you cannot create compassion to such person, at least you should not create your anger. And it is natural for all the sentient beings to create the problems to other sentient beings. For example, the nature of the fire is burning. So, when the fire burns your hand or finger, if you get angry with the fire, it will not get better, because your finger is burned. You're already finished, burned, and by getting angry with the fire, it will not make better. So similarly, that it is because it is the nature of the fire to burn. So it is the nature of the sentient being to have so much anger. So you deal with the anger, it will make the more angers, and it will not lessen the anger. And then it becomes like if the smoke
if the sky is filled up with smoke, and your eyes are tearing because of the smoke, and you cannot complain the sky. So similarly, that you cannot complain the sentient beings, because they have no choice, and the sky has not created the fire, not created the smoke, but smoke it is just happen to be, since the space it goes there, so you cannot get angry to the sky. And now it says that if you want to have anger, you should have anger to the anger itself, and then to your anger itself, and then you should destroy that anger. For example, somebody attacks you with a stick, with a weapon, with a stone, anything, and therefore you get angry. And that actually actually the beating with the, actually the real thing that attacks you, that hurts you, that injures you is not that himself. It is not himself, it is the stone, it is the stick, or anything that injures you. So in reality, that these stakes are also that him to beat with the sticks or stones is caused by the anger. So you must get anger not in the person, that person. Then if you really want to get anger, then you should get anger with the stone, with the stick itself, because the direct that thing injures you is the weapons and sticks, and not the person, his personality or his person himself. Okay, so the question.
Is there some way that the ill effects of anger can be undone?
Huh?
Is there some way that the bad effects of anger can be undone or countered?
Undone or counted?
Yes, maybe by seeking forgiveness or something like that.
No, you can confess anger. You can use that, but even if it doesn't hurt my mind or physical body, but it disturbs me, because by saying bad things, and I will not find many followers, and by saying that I will not find lots of offerings, something like me, I will not find, and I will not have the respect from other people because I was criticized, and lots of people think that this is not a good person. So then Shantideva said, that is very much wrong to think that way. It is said that if you live like that, and if you build your reputation and your reputation or anything through your anger, and then that is not right. That is not right livelihood. One should not live in this way. And
one must, if one is a good practitioner, one should not concern about one's food or about one's fame or anything. One must think that no matter whether I have a food to eat, things to drink, I should not commit the non-virtuous deed. And I should not live the wrong livelihood or wrong livings. And it is, if one cannot practice, and one just depends on such joy, happiness, joy on the respect, joy on the offerings, joy on the praises by other people, then that is not the joy or happiness. Because person who dreamed that he enjoyed for 100 years, and person who enjoyed, who had a short sleep and had a short dream, but he enjoyed also in a short period. But when both woke up, there is no difference in terms of the length of the joy. So similarly, that in this world, whatever we have joy, peace or happiness, and that is not something that we should get attached to. Even if we live long, with such joy and happiness, or you live short with joy and happiness, at the time of death, it is the same. That both, that who during the long time who could have collected so much wealth, so much reputation, so much respect, whatever, and the person who has not achieved that long because his life was short. But at the time of the death, it is the same, that you have to go, both has to go without those, bringing those things. So then ultimately there is no point for having attached to those good things, because ultimately that one has to leave everything. So there is no difference between these two persons. And he says that this is not the thing, that if I have enough food, if I have enough place, if I have a good house, and then I can live long, and with that I can practice more. So that is why there is a reason that I should also work to build my fame and respect, all these things. And anybody who is coming to disturb these things, I should attack them, so that they will not disturb my fame and all these things. Then Shantideva said, if you build your fame or wealth or anything with such motivation, with such reputation, with such motivation, and then the thing that you are collecting is not the merit. The thing you are collecting is the sin or negativities. So then it is rather die earlier than live long. So, because you will be always actually creating the non-virtuous deed. So therefore, that bodhicitta should go always one's attitudes. If the bodhicitta does not go, it physically looks like that you are practicing the Dharma, or maybe physically that you are popular. Today, this word popular is very much becoming very much important. And the more followers you have, then you become more important.
and then you have more respect. And then this way thinks that he is doing Dharma practice, he is doing for the benefit of sentient beings. But actually, it is not benefiting sentient beings, because his mind is for his own reputation, for his own benefit. So the bodhicitta is not there. So therefore, even if you live longer, that is, your practice is not improving, your practice is not there. So I have to be very careful. I think usually that the number of the followers is not important. The motivation, the attitude, and the teaching you give is more important. And the teaching to benefit your student, your follower is more important. Because if you do everything correctly, even if it is little group, it benefits. But if you don't do correctly, even if it is a large group, it does not benefit anybody. So then it again becomes negative, non-virtuous deed, not the virtuous deeds. So it is very important to practice Dharma. Practice Dharma does not necessarily mean that sitting down and doing the sadhanas. Even the teaching itself is the practice. Listening to the Dharma is also the practice. So that the students also should have proper motivation and proper attitude, and the teacher also should have. And the teacher acts. The teacher's motivation is to show the scholarly. That is not the good thing. Teacher's responsibility is try to make the students to know what you are teaching. This is very important. So then of course compassion and bodhicitta is very important. Otherwise problem will be created. And then instead of placing your students in the happiness, you will be placing them on suffering. And that is against the law of the Dharma, and against the law of the bodhicitta. And generally, when we practice, the bodhicitta is practiced like before one enters into the Buddhist Mahayana path. The first thing that one should know or treat the sentient being should treat sentient beings as a mother, as a brother, sister. Older than oneself should be treated as father and mother. The same age should be treated as sister and brother, and the younger ones should treat your children. Then when you actually practice, then there are 5 paths, as I explained last time, that the first 2 paths are called the path of accumulation and path of application. During that time, how to treat sentient being is you should treat. Then you should promote your previous understanding, that you should treat that all the sentient beings are equal. Equally. That no difference. So therefore you can make the exchanges between yourself and others. And you can share your happiness with the others, because there is no difference whether you enjoy or suffer, or whether other sentient beings enjoy or suffer, that you should, if they enjoy, you should also be happy. If they suffer, also you should be, and you should be saddened as you feel when you are suffering. And then on the path of the seeing, that is the first level of the Bhumi, then you should treat, because that time is the time when you realize the actual emptiness. So then at that time, then you should treat all the sentient beings with the understanding of the non-duality. So the non-duality means it goes with the emptiness, that in reality you do not exist, enemy do not exist. So therefore, that even though we do not exist inherently, but out of our ignorance, we hate each other, we create the problems each other. So then it is the object of the compassion, not the object of your hate or anger. So in this way, then you should practice bodhicitta. And then when you actually enlighten, become the enlightened Buddha, then you should treat every sentient being as a Buddha, as a Buddha's Dharma, Sangha, or body, mind, speech of the Buddhas. So it is said in some of the sutras that when you become fully enlightened, they see everybody, every sentient being as a Buddha, not just ordinary sentient beings. Because the nature of our mind and the nature of Buddha, and the emptiness of that our mind, the emptiness of the Buddha's wisdom, are non-dual, equal, same. So therefore, that in reality, there is no difference. And then again it says, Shantideva, that actually when one has taken the bodhicitta, it is the responsibility for oneself to save, to protect, to give the happiness to other sentient beings. But then we have the jealous when somebody is happy, somebody is more lucky than us, especially somebody who cross with us. We feel very much jealous, and sometimes we may wish that he will not have such good circumstances and all these things. And then Shantideva said that is very much wrong with your bodhisattva or bodhicitta practice, because it is your responsibility actually to make them happy, to save them, to liberate them. But without you doing, they are finding the happiness by their self, by their own. And why don't you rejoice that instead of, so you don't have to make them, you don't have to put effort, then themselves is putting effort. It is like that your family, that you have to look after your children, your relatives. If they are in a difficult, financially difficult position, you have to help them. Or if they are sick, you have to help them. But when these children, without your help, if they become a, if your relatives or children, they themselves can look after themselves very well, you should be happy, right? So same as that all the sentient beings, when they are being able to make themselves happy, make themselves more good things, you should rejoice and you should share that joy. Because when you are happy, you enjoy. So similarly, when they have such circumstances, they also have a happiness. So you enjoy. You enjoy, or you share the joy and happiness with them. And then that is the practice of bodhisattva.
And also, we make the offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we pay respects to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And why not we pay respects to the sentient beings? Because they are equally important. That there are two fields of our merit, and the two fields are that one field is the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and other fields of the merit is the sentient beings. That through the sentient beings you can create the merit, that you do the good things depending on sentient beings, then you can create the merit. And if the sentient beings are not there, there is no field for you to create that, to grow your merit, and especially to practice the tolerance. So therefore, instead of hating them, instead of having anger with them, one must actually feel or appreciate, and one must respect the sentient beings. And because in terms of field of the merit, the both sentient beings and Buddhas are equally kind, equally important. So, this way, actually, that we have completed the fourth, chapter of tolerance. And the teaching that the way I taught was not actually traditional teaching way. It could be said the semi-traditional. Because if I were to teach you traditionally, then there should be a common language that we should use. Means either you should speak in Tibetan so that we can go both through the text and then I can explain the word by word. Or we should have the English text. And then I should be very fluently English speaking. But however, and this teaching, when Shantideva taught, I think more his followers were the monks. So a lot of things are based on the teachings for the monks. And some of these teachings that is not necessary for the lay peoples are escaped, because it's not necessary. But it can be complete, because complete teaching does not mean to complete one text book like this, whole chapters. That is, I think it is very difficult to teach the complete teaching anytime by anybody, because Buddha's teaching is very wide. And for example, when we talk about the tolerance, this chapter, we could not say that I taught complete teaching of tolerance, because there might be another masters who also explains about the tolerance, and they may be explained in a different style, different techniques. So then that teaching of techniques does not include in this. And also, the Shantideva himself is teaching. There were another two books called, in Tibetan it's called Labdu and Ndodu. So these teachings are also related with this one, Bodhicaryavatara. So what we call is complete subject-wise, we could say that we completed first chapter, second chapter, third chapter, fourth, fifth and sixth, because the subject should not be missed out. So subject-wise we have discussed on these teachings up to the sixth.
these chapters. And then maybe next time when we have opportunity, we can still carry on. Or maybe I think that next time we do now more practical, in the sense do the retreat. Because if you have not forgotten those teachings in the past, I thought, and presently, then you have quite enough foundation or basic for your practice. So, depend on the time and the situation, we will see what we should do in the future. And now, the more important is to be a good practitioner, to be a good human being. And whatever we practice, whatever we learn, whatever we understood, should not be for the sake of worldly dharma, what we call is worldly dharma, which means for the sake of these worldly benefits. It should not be thing that causes our pride. It should not be thing that makes us more important, feel more important. By being a Buddhist, by learning a Bodhisattva vow or practice, one should not say that others who are not Buddhist, who have not learned Bodhisattva, are inferior or are worse than us. You see, sentient beings' mentality in the past karma are deep and far that we cannot see directly. So therefore, even though those people have not taken the Bodhisattva vow, those who have not been the Buddhist, but what kind of good karma they have in the past, and what kind of mind they have now, we cannot judge that. So there could be, even one is not a religious person, I think sometimes he can be a good person, better than the Buddhists. So we should have the equal respect to everybody, and we should have equal love to everybody. And sometimes that we may feel that we have committed lots of merit, lots of practice. By counting the time that I have practiced this for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, all like that. But then the time does not make any difference. The difference is the sincerity, the genuine, how sincere you are in your practice. And though it looks that in this way we are doing something for ourselves, but then actually we are cheating or deceiving ourselves by wrong motivation, by wrong attitude. And then whatever time you spend is wasted. So therefore, that's just bodhicitta practice itself. We could say that quite enough for this degenerated time. That it is very difficult for ordinary sentient beings to practice the bodhicitta. the more learned, the more rich, the more famous, they are more less towards the Dharma practice. So, Dharma practice is sincerely or seriously to be done is because we should first realize that there is something to do with ourselves through our practice. We must be sure about our goal or our objectives. If we are not sure about our goal and objectives, then the practice is not necessarily important. Then it is. So anyway, we should treat equally, and even if we have here that our center members, some are able to practice quite amount of time, some are not able to practice, but we should not make this to differentiate among our members. Practice, those who can do practice, those who can do more practice, is a very good thing, but that is not, should not be the cause to say that, oh, that person is not very serious, that person is not regular, or that person is something like that. And then I think it will be okay. And then I think it can be a lack of knowledge of Dharma. So therefore, that we try to make our practice as sincere as possible. Even we can make one person happy, one should rejoice that, one should make happy, but not to make even a single person unhappy or cause the anger, and that is not our attitude. We should have the kind of attitude that our attitude can attract the people. If we have a compassion, bodhicitta, and act accordingly, I think naturally we will attract the people. So attract people for what? Attract the people to create a good atmosphere, to benefit and to promote one's own practice, bodhicitta practice. So I said that first step is not to be a Buddhist, not to be somebody practicing the Buddhist. The first step for us is to be a good human being, good person. And then the second step, the next step is to go with the practice. So I'm very, very happy that since from the inception of our center that we have gone actually better and better. We have not gone worse and worse, in practically speaking.
And I know that you all have a sincere motivation, and our trustees and members, and all of you are working together for the same goal, which is very important and which is our responsibility. I very much hope that through this center that we can create good atmosphere around the area, around the country, but not to make more Buddhists. That is not important. So, till now, that everybody has worked very hard, and our trustees have worked very hard, we found this place now. Though there may be some disagreements about finding this place, but I would say that our first step is done, and we have to do more. And this is now holy place. We do not need kind of certificate to make it holy place. We do not need kind of the seal to make this holy place. But holy place is everywhere if you have pure vision. There is no negative place anywhere. If negative place comes in you when your mind is negative. So this is particularly used for the Dharma practice. And environment is also shows the Dharma practice. I think this is very, it used to be the church in the past. That means it was used for many years for the spiritual purpose. And it was already a holy place. And now it is we who are using this, and we also use this for good purpose, and with the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma Sanghas, with blessings of our Guru, and through the force of our faith and devotion, this place is now holy place. And even if you cannot practice, you can visit this place often. You can bring your friends. There's no one who cannot come to this place. You not necessarily have to be a Buddhist to be coming in this place. And so usually, in Tibetans, what they do is that the temple, whenever they have a important business, important works to do, they go to visit the place and make the offerings. Offering means like flower or incense, whatever, and make the wishes for what particular work or job you might be doing to be achieved. So you can also do in the same way, that come here sometimes when you have time, or when you are doing important things, or even you have some problems, sickness, you can come and say prayers. And prayers is not necessarily to read the Buddhist text. Prayers you can make with your own words and with your own mind. But tell them whatever difficulties you have, and ask them, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to give the blessings. And if your karma and faith, all these goes positively, then I'm sure that there will be blessings. So in this way, I should stop my talking and we should have some, if you have some questions.
Lama, how could a person know that how could I know that I'm living my truth?
I'm what?
How could I know that I'm living my truth?
I'm what?
How could I
know I am what?
that I'm living my truth?
Living my truth.
Living my truth.
Mm.
Living what? L-I-V-I-N or L-E-A-V-I-N?
L-I-V-I-N-G.
What does that mean?
Living truth. Or how could a person know that he's living this?
You're living the right type of life?
Yeah, maybe.
You are asking me what kind of life you had?
No. How could I?
Oh, you compare yourself with the other sentient beings. That what is good for you is definitely good for others. Right?
Mm.
So in this way, you treat others. And what is not good for you is not good for others. Then you should also treat others and me that way. Not create the things that they don't want. Create the things that they want. Like you want what? Good life and good job and good family. Same is the other sentient beings want. So when they have this kind of things, you should not have jealous.
Mm.
And you, even if that is enemy, you should rejoice that what the others or the enemy are having. Then that is the truth. Otherwise, what kind of truth?
Okay.
Mandala, although we are supposed to be loving to everybody, there must be some that we could be loving to from a distance. For some people we should not get involved with. Evil people, we should not get involved with them, surely, but we could still love them from a distance. Is this correct?
You should not involve with their attitudes.
Lama, can I ask one question? It's very contemporary. You know Bob Geldof? Bob Geldof.
Who's that?
He is talking about world poverty
Uh-huh.
and helping to make governments understand the problem in Africa.
Uh-huh.
And he is shouting and getting angry and making people think and look inside themselves. Is there sometimes, can his anger be helpful to society?
Anger is never helpful, I think. So that is why the Buddha Shantideva said, yesterday's teaching I said, that if there's something to solve, if there's any way to solve the problem, don't get angry. If there's no way to solve the problem, also don't get angry. So angry is not at all.
Okay. Thank you, Lama.
Can I ask then, Lama, can you have anger without being attached? So if you need it to discipline someone, you can kind of take it out of your pocket. Not to harm them, but to maybe correct something they're doing, but there's love behind the anger?
Love behind anger.
Like with Bob Geldof, there's a loving intention, and he's saying he's angry at the injustice, but he's not directing his anger in a harmful way at somebody. It's more to express the love, actually.
Sometimes maybe, but that is very rare. Sometimes maybe anger works. Sometimes, like you see that we have something like wrathful deities. Physically they look very fierce. But that sort of physical showing anger is not actually the real anger. If you have a real anger, I think that is the anger.
That person.
So again, I thank you very much for taking care of me, the trustees, and all of you being with us. We have been quite a number of days together, and it is really something, something that we should not forget, and something that we should rejoice that we are here together for a good cause. And so our trustees and all of you, I thank you very much. And I wish that everybody will work together, and especially that our center is now with that, is it? And so whichever way possible to clear it. I'm not saying that straight away, but in whichever way possible. And then I also thank the Jean for taking care of me so many days, and feeding me and driving me everywhere. And also I had a nice time with many of our members at their house or outside. We had this garden party by Richard, and I also had the opportunity to join the lunch with the Rotary clubs. And I anyway thank whatever you have done for me, and I wish all of you happy, success, and good health and long life. And then I have small things to give you. I don't know whether this is enough because there's so many people there. So this is necklace, and this bead is from my rosary, that which I used for a long time to recite various mantras. So I hope this will be some help to you. So please, would you come one by one? This you can make bigger and shorter, okay? By pulling like this. I think you better yourself. Try. Give them some dunk, right? Yeah. Thank you. Which color do you want?
She's the last one.
Very good. Okay, which color do you want? Okay. Okay.
Oma Oma Mirde Honde Oma So Baba Shuddha Sarva Dhamma So Baba Shuddha Hang Tombe Ngane Omne Jungwe Rinpo Chele Trubi Ne Yanshin Gyache Wa Namji Nang Omo Shuwa Le Jungwe Laze Le Trubi Chede Nam Tanshin Towa Meba Namka Kangwara Ju Om Bendra Ara Gamma Ahung Om Bendra Padama Ahung Om Bendra Pushpe Ahung Om Bendra Dube Ahung Shindu Barama Chatsal Turen Jikpa Cheme Duji Pao Nambra Jumma Chuji Shani Tonyere Denze Dao Tamji Malu Sema Chanza Kunjo Sunzun Chayi Surme Tukar Nambra Yema Malu Choji Kolu Yembe Rangi Veji Tonam Tuma Chazo Rabdu Gawa Yibi Uji Veji Tenwa Pelma Yeba Raji Tuda Rai Dudan Jigden Wangdu Zema Chancel Saji Jongwe Tonam Tamji Gupra Nuba Nima Tonyere Yove Yige Hungki Pongba Tamji Nambra Doloma Chancel Dawe Tumbu Uyen Gemba Tamje Shindu Barama Ralbi Tune Ba Mele Tapara Shindu Veravanzema Chatal Kalba Tami Meta Bawi Tingwe Una Nema Yejan Yugum Gune Korogi Dai Pungni Nambra Jumma Chancel Saji Ngola Chaki Tilji Ninji Shabji Dungma Tonyere Jenze Yige Hungi Rimba Dumbo Namne Gemma Chanza Dema Gema Hima Nyangen Deshi Junyema Sohai Omda Yanda Deme Diba Chembo Joba Nima Chanza Kune Korao Gavi Dai Lune Rabdo Gemma 이게 주비 안에 그대 리바 홍레 돌마니마 찾아 둘이 샵네 답에 홍기 남베 사베니마 리람멘다라다 비지 지게 순나 요와니마 찾아 라이 초이 남베 리다 따진 차나 나마 따라 니제 페지 Tuna Malu Pane Sema Chaza Lai Tonam Yabo Flada Miam Ji Tema Kune Koja Gavi Jiji Tsoda Milam Gemba Selema Chaza Nima Dawa Yebe Jeni Pola Ora Osama Hara Ninju Tudarai Shindu Tabu Zune Sema Chazo Tini Suna Gebe Hive Tuda Yanda Dema Danda Roland Nujin Tona Jumba Ture Racho Nima Zawe Haji Deba Dena Chaza Wani Niju Zaji Chaza Wadan Chujin Shabadan Jesu Ira Kushin Sowai Gewa Jungse Dagi Jisamba Tamji Zobi Chanju Chembo Omo Tare Tutare Ture Soha Tare Haman Dema Dala Kongsu So Dagi Nyeze Mali Kunshine Tunje Rewe Debu Mali Ba Beme Lunjin Dubaran Zedo So Lada Lami Jwebenji shabji pemo latude pongpa kule dozema doma yumla chanza lo Oma ayatare sapare vara aga bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara padam bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara pushpe bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara dube bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara Alonge bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara Gende bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara Nevende bunza ahum Oma ayatare sapare vara Shabda bunza ahum Benza dhamaranika paranita paranita sawa buddha cheta pasadite paya paramita nata sambhave benza sarva dhamma hridaya sendoshane hummo 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 ho 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 akaso saye buje juye metotam rira nije nide jembande sanje shindu mide puwaye Drukun namda shindu jebra sho Amanguru tarer namedal Unza mega samundra saparana Samaye hum Omoye jema pamaduma na chansano Chaza duma nyurma pamo Jene keji lokandam Jide sungu chuji shaji Kesara jiwa lene chuma Chansal dungi dawa kundu Kanwa gyane tsekbe shama Kama tonda toba namji Rabdu chebe vera barama Chansal semo chune geji Peme chane nambra yema Jimba tundu katu shiwa Seba samde juyu nima Chazo teshin shebe tutur Tae nambra gyarwa chema Malu paro chimba tobi Gyabe seji shindo tema Chaza duda reon yege Dedan choda namka kama Jiden dumbo shabji nende Lupa mebra gupra numa Chatsal jaji me la tsangba Lungla natso wanju chema Jumbo rolan tiza namtan Nuji choji dune dema Chatsa teji jadan peji Paro truko raptu joma Yekum yunyang shabji nende Membra tupar shindu barama Chatsal dure jikpa cheme Duji pao nambra joma Chuji shani tonyere denze Dawo tamji malu sema Chatsal kunjo sumdun chayi Surmu tukara nambra yema Malu choji kolu yembe Rangi veji tsonam tuma Chatsal rabdu gawa jibi Ujin veji tenwa pelma Yeba rabji tutarayi Dudan jingen wandu zema Chatsal saji chongwe tsonam Tamji gubara nuba nima Tonye yowe yige hungi Pongba tamji nambra doloma Chatsal dawe tumbu uji Yemba tamji shindo barama Rabbi tune weba mele Dabra shindu vera zema Chatsal kalba tami meta Bawe tingwe una nema Yejang yungum kune koroge dai puni nambra joma chazal sayi ngala chagi tilji nunji shabji duma tonyere jenze yige hungi rimba dimbo namne gema chazal dema gema shima nyange dehi juyu nyema soa omda yanda deme diba chembo jomba nyima chazal kune korau gavi dai lune rabdo gema yige jubi ngane köbe rikpa hunle roma nyima mazara ture shamne dabe hungi nambe sabe nyima rira menda rada biji jide sunna yowa nyima chaza lai tsoi nambe rida tajin chana nama tara nije peji yege tunam malu pane selema chaza lai tsonam gyabo lada miem ji tenema kune koja gawi ji tsoda mena ngenpa sema chaza nima dawa jedi jini pola ora sama hara niju tuda rai shindu tabu rimne selema chazo tini sumna gobe shiwi tuda yangda dema denda rolan nujin so nam jomba ture racho nima zawe ngaji deba di tam chaza wani nishu zaji omo ayatare aragam padam pube dube alonge gende nevende shabda ahun lamo lagi yanda dembe lode kange radan jede söda toran lambara jede tembe minji tamje rabder diba tamje rabdu shiwa ngenro tamje jomba nito yawa jewa tadu namji nyurdu wani kurwa jula dile chewa nini topji sanje goban tadu teno de tuni taho chembo tenam pan shenya dowa Sheba dani tungwa nyi jan, tembe rabdu selwa nyi top. Denda rimda tugi zirewe, dunga tsoni nambra pongde, semje shenpa namla yango, nyi sum dindu ngombra jena, punde pene putobu churu jing, nonde pene nonnam nyi top. Deba tamje topara jula, gena meji sosoro jomjuro ji. Omo dare ture soha, dare. Amaduma dala gongsu so dagi nyete malu kunshi ne tunje rewe tena malu ba peme tunji druba zedu so ama ayatare sapare vara agam punza amu ama ayatare sapare vara pada punza amu Oma ayatare sapare vara pibe punza a Oma ayatare sapare vara pibe punza a Oma ayatare sapare vara alonge punza a Oma ayatare sapare vara gende punza a Oma ayatare sapare vara nevende punza a Omo ayatare sapare var shabda punza ahum om bandra Dhammaratnita Paranita Samparanita Sava Buddha Chera Pasalide Pagya Paramita Nada Sambhave Benza Dharma Hidaya Sindoshane Hum 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 Ho 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 Akaso Chaja Veva Tamje La Shindu Kunji Tani Ludu Bae Namgu Chodo Deve Chanda Lo Cho Juna Yubi Sanje Tam Chanju Semba Tamje Jeju Ma Pama Dumi Lazo Tamje Dala Gongsu So Che Namla Chembe Yeshe Sewe Tuje Chobi Nudu Samji Misha Pa Ngawa Labe Hendi Juni Kunjin Kyawe Temba Rinpoche Tashin Jela Yurindu Neba Tang Lama Tamba Devara Shekpa Namji Tugong Zoba Tang Tata Shashukpa Tamji Kukam Sanhi Kutse Ringla Doden Pewa Tang Gendunji De Tamji Chuju Chuyi Druba Minyam Sing Pewa Tang Jigdenji Kam Tamji Tu Chaju Tusu Bepi Loju Tado Legba Tang Mene Chune Tamji Junji Ji Juji Tuba Tamji Nyevara Shiva Tang Chevra Doya Daja Penlo Kordan Jebi Gajin Paje Tamji Hishin Tunjin Samde Yijin Rugaran Zedu So Omo Amrinte Hom Pesoha Omo So Bawa Shuddha Sarva Dhamma So Bawa Shuddha Tombe Gale Rumbo Chele Trubi Nyan Yin Yashewa Toma Duzi Gyazo Chembro Shur Omo Ahung Omo Ahung Omo Ahung Omo Ayatare Om Akaro Mukan Sarva Dhamma Na Aida Nibe Nanda Da Omo Ahung Pesova Omo Ayatare Om Akaro Mukan Sarva Dhamma Na Aida Nibe Nanda Da Omo Ahung Pesova Omo Ayatare Om Akaro Mukham Sarva Dharmanan Adan Nipananda Da Om Ahum Pesoha Omo Ayatare Aragam Padam Pushpe Dupe Alonge Gende Nivende Shabda Ahum Lada Lami Shaji Bemo Ladu Pomba Gune Doze Ma Dama Yumla Chasa No Omo Ahum Omo Ahum Omo Ahum Omo Akaro Mukan Sarva Dhamana Adan Nibe Nededa Omo Ahum Pesova Omo Akaro Mukan Sarva Dharmana Adan Nibe Nededa Omo Ahum Pesova Omo Akaro Mukan Sarva Dharmanan Adan Nibe Nededa Om Ahum Pesova Juji Dharma Dambali Shujong Sumi Tolangu Sanje Temba Tarvada Dagi Tile Dubanju Omo Ahum Omo Ahum Omo Ahum Name Sama Tadangata Avalokit Omo Sambara Sambara Hum Name Sama Tadangata Avalokite Omo Sambara Sambara Hum name sawa tada gata avalokite Om sambara sambara hum Tehi sheba rinje mala chaza lo Tehi sheba sunze tambala chaza Tehi sheba kunjam lela chaza lo Tehi sheba jigwa tamje dan trave pala chaza lo Chuji torma tambandi ridu semje namla jin Tegum dunga shiwa dan Changju semdan den yuruji Omma ahum, omma ahum, omma ahum Namesawa tadangata avalokite omma sambara sambara hum Namesawa tadangata avalokite omma sambara sambara hum Namesawa tadangata avalokite sambara sambara hum Tehin sheba rinje mangla chaza lo Tehin sheba zungze tambala chaza Tehin sheba kunjam lela chaza lo Tehin sheba jigba tamje dan tarve pala chaza Chujin torma tamba di hida neda tamje Kube mbuji jine jan jide dehi chunbe Samdu yin druva du Om benza sato samaya manu palaya Benza sato teno pa dishtra didro mebawa Suto shayo mebawa Agnu rato mebawa Subo shayo mebawa Sarva siti meprayata Sarva karma sutame Chittam shriya kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan sarva tatha gata Beza mame mint Bezi bhava maha samaya sato a Om benza sato samaya manu palaya Benza sato teno pa dishta didro mebhava Suto shayo mebhava Agnu rato mebhava Subo shayo mebhava Sarva siddhi meprayatsa Sarva karma sutame Chitam shriya kuruhum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva tatha gata benza mame minja bezipa Ma samaya sato a Om benza sato samaya Manu palaya Benza sato teno bhatishtan Didro mebhava Suto shayo mebhava Anu rauto mebhava Subo shayo mebhava Sarva siddhi meprayatsa Sarva karma sutsa me Chittam shriya kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sava tata gata benza mame minza Bezi bhava maha samay Sado a manjuro vadan nyamba tan Kaya damo loye ni Jiba tani jizaba Tekin gumbe sebaranju Ame chuma madape Choga shungji majo tang Lache gaju jiji ba Tuji sebaran zedo so Oma suba tishram banzaya so Gewa di nyurdu da Jetun Duma Drujurne, Drova Chija Maluba, Te Sala Gubrajo Mudu Nyutso Jetun Dumi Shao, Kanji Laji Pade Adisha, Jere Ziji Namdru Jawa Dom, Sowa Deso Chodun Gudu Lama lagu pande gompa wa Dove gombo shanten karma ba tuji tejuru shenye lumbaba, sowa deso chodu nguru to, kadam tembe nima chumi ba, sanje gomba chenbo singi jab, mawe wanju shenye kunjo ta, sowa deso chodu nguru to, tenji tuju zemba dewe ba, kashi mawa takwa shinu sha, kenji tamji chenpa sunam ta, sowa deso chotu ngudu to, sisun denda sunan gyanzen ta, tudo wanju ngacha sungji pa, tuji sejo panden tsuren sha, sowa deso chotu ngudu to, Gyawe lungten ngorjin doje chan, chenra rinjin chodo tubi shab, kunjin nipa shakja tendu la, sowa depso chotu mudu to, jampa yangu kunga ledu tang, genyi mawa shiu loza wa, jampa ngawan chole doje la, sowa deso chotu ngudu to, senpa chenpo chenra tenze san, dowe lama chenra chanpe pa, doji chanchi kunga lundu la, sowa deso chotu ngudu to, awan kunga lekbi jungne tang, tenpe sachi donga chenpe sha, kangi tukse ranjam pinzo la, sowa deso chotu ngudu to, trubi wangbo nga wan shera tang, tambi jesu nga wan kasan sha, tenjin zawe lama tamba la, sowa deso chotu ngudu to, choga shindu sowa tabi tu, Nede nyetsi tsonam nyeshi shi, dagi chotan tumo ngwendo nam, beme nyudu dubra chinji lo. Omo jezu ma pama duma la cha ca lo, cha ca dure nyurma pa mo, tuta rei jiba selma, ture tengu jimbi doloma, soha yige chela du dos. Du nyuzo je zundu me sha, kanje la jibande adi sha, jere si jilandu kawai dum, sowa deso choten ngedunzo, lama lagi banden gombawa, dovi gombo shanten kamawa, tuji dejru shenye lombawa, sowa deso choten ngedunzo, kada temeni ma chumi pa, sanje gomba chenpo sengi ja, ave wanju shenye kunjo cha, sowa deso choten ngedunzo, tenji tushu zemba dewe pa, kashima wa chaba shenu sha, kenji tamji chenpa sunama cha, sowa deso choten ngedunzo, si sun tenda sunan gyan ta, tu do wan chu nga jan sun jie ba, tu ji se ju ban de su yo